Oh yeah, we are back, and we don't got Greg for the entirety of this time. He has to be gone. What, are you busy or something? What is this? I got to make sure I'm off by 7:40. What?
I got the
No,
kid.
man, I need you for the entire time. No, I'm joking.
I got the
Uh,
kids. I'm at the facility right now. I got this janky setup going on. I just put the computer in here, like revamping this to make part of this my office. So I got plugs right here. This is terrible. This is where the computer's plugged in, running it up to the wall because this highlight over here is jacked up. The cord's hanging down from the TV here. It's janky right now, but I got to get back home because my wife does hair, so she's going to work and then she'll be
nah,
on.
man, forget those kids. No, I'm joking. Uh, obviously, if you guys are new to the show, we got Greg Panelli in here, quarterback trainer, Panelli Passing Academy out there. He's located in the Central Valley, but he travels all over. If you guys want quarterback training, has worked with guys. You guys see the picture of Josh Allen down there, where he's wearing Josh Allen's jersey. That's one of his guys that he works with. But let's talk about this performance. Jimmy Garoppolo, I believe he was what 15 and
Hold on,
19.
hold on, Croc. You didn't let me get my word in about Rex Ryan and Robert Saleh.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I want to hear it.
I know I'm going to speak for some of the Niners peeps here because you had the experience with Rex Ryan, but your experience is going to be different than others because you got to deal with them on a personal level. But from a Niners fan perspective and people that like Saleh, Rex Ryan needs to chill. He needs to chill his ass out. Okay. Robert Saleh is a pretty damn good defensive coach. We know that. The energy that he brought. So to say that his guys don't have energy, the Jets have been trash for, I don't even know, since Mark Sanchez left, basically, since you were there at some point or another, and since you left, they've been trash. There's no energy in the freaking stadium with the Jets. Whether the Jets fans, the Jets, Jets, crap, no. It's been trash. So it's going to be hard to have some energy. The one thing I'll say about Saleh, watching him coach for the 49ers, every time the camera would scan to him on the sideline, that dude had endless energy. It was like if you looked at Saleh when the Niners when he was coaching the Niners and he's pumped up on the sidelines, it's like you knew, like you were confident whether the offense got it done or not that he was going to make sure the defense had it. That was going to end up winning some games for us. I always felt that when I saw Robert Saleh jacked up on the sidelines, fist pumping, running, chest pumping, like he was nuts on the sidelines. And I think that's how it should be. Now he has to contain himself a little bit more because he's a head coach, but he's a head coach on a team that is just, I mean, we talked about the Niners having no identity. The Jets have no identity whatsoever. He stepped foot. I don't care if it was Bill Belichick going to the Jets this year. They'd still be trash. Just the fact of the matter.
Did you hear the comments?
Yeah, I saw some of the stuff as far as like him being. I didn't see the whole interview. I saw a
Nah,
lot
but
of the Cliff Notes version of it.
hold on. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I get this to play to where you guys can hear it. All right, hold on. Are you able to hear this?
Above average safety you're missing. I remember playing without 5 corners.
Can you
It
hear
never
that?
looked like this.
Yeah.
I think we were fifth. This is a horrendous defense. Now they're going to use, well, we never had our safety. So what? Everybody has a million injuries, let alone an above average safety you're missing. I remember playing without 5 corners. It never looked like this. I think we were fifth in the league that year in defense. This guy's supposed to be a defensive guru. I heard everything, and I take it personal on this one. Everything I heard about was, well, this guy's a lot like myself, but without the bad part. Yeah, well, some of the bad part you need because this team doesn't play with any damn heart. I mean, that's the thing that's disappointing to me. And don't ever compare this guy to me, this Robert Saleh to me, because statistically, one time they were like a top defense. All right, here's one thing they're going to be familiar with. 4 out of 5 years, the 49ers were dead last in their division. So he's going to be dead last again. So he's used to that. So to me, I'm a little pissed off about it when I hear that this guy, his background's a lot like yours. No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Oh, he sounds like he's a little salty that he's not coaching the NFL anymore. Because
You think that's what it is?
could take his big ass back to New York, and ain't no way he's doing anything better than Robert Saleh right now. I promise you that. I promise you. And when he did win the Super Bowl, he won the Super Bowl as a D-line coach on the Ravens. I could have won the damn Super Bowl as a D-line coach on the Ravens that year.
Right.
I mean, come on. They were both. I'm just saying, Rex Ryan needs to chill his ass out because he lost 3 AFC championships in a row. So two, whatever it may be. I'm not trying
to. All right, so Rex Ryan definitely has Greg fired up. I like it. Does Jimmy Garoppolo have you fired up? 15 out of 19. I think it was like 180-something yards, threw a couple touchdowns. Terrific one to George Kittle. Amazing one to Deebo Samuel. Thought he managed the game extremely well. What were kind of some of your thoughts on watching Jimmy Garoppolo on Monday night's football game against the Rams?
Yeah, it was that vibe yesterday. That was a team that looked like they had an identity. Like we've been waiting for it all year. Show us an identity. Give us something. How is this offense going to be called? How are we going to play? They come out yesterday, run the ball 44 times for 156 yards, and threw it 19 times. And Jimmy was 15-19 for 179, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. His passer rating was, I think, 141 to Stafford's 67. Okay? But the time of possession, 39 minutes time of possession for the Niners, 20 minutes for the Rams. You doubled them on time of possession. So that you come out on that first drive, was it 18 plays with a touchdown, right? Like that. And it's not like the run game was sexy to the point where there was long runs that were broken off, but they sustained, right? They were able to milk the clock. They were able to take these 2, 3, 4 yard pops, whatever it may be. And then Jimmy was working the middle with a pass game. He got sacked one time with that D-line one time yesterday. And those DBs, as you know, too. I mean, when you're playing against superior DBs, Ramsey's, guys like that, with rushers on the D-line, like it becomes a little bit tough, especially when you got tight coverage, to hang in there and try and get through your progressions. And I think that Jimmy did what he was supposed to do. Jimmy did what we think that's the Jimmy Garoppolo that I remember 2019. That's the offense that I remember in 2019. That was the play calling that I remember from 2019. That's what it looked like yesterday. So watching Jimmy yesterday, I mean, I don't want to jump too far, but I think he did great. You know, that was his job. That's what Jimmy's there for. Take care of the ball, eliminate any turnovers, move the ball down the field, control the clock. He seems to do that a lot of times in big games for the most part. You know, I would think over his career in big games, most of the time Jimmy shows up. And that's the difference.
What do you think about just kind of the string of games that he's put together, right? Because, you know, you talk about the Bears game, the Cardinals game, and now this game, where that's pretty much 3 games in a row where he has played at a level to where like that would likely lead to wins, even though it didn't against Arizona.
Right.
And I think a big part of that was because of the 2 fumbles. But I think you would assume if Jimmy continues to play like that, the 49ers should be a playoff team, because right now I think they're like a half game out of that last wild card spot. You got the Jaguars, Vikings coming up. You got some other teams that I think they only play like one team with a winning record like for the rest of the season. Like it's very favorable.
Right.
So are you with the play that you saw yesterday from Jimmy Garoppolo, do you think that play will lead them to the playoffs?
Absolutely. I think that how the team played yesterday would be how they played yesterday would be a team that looked like a playoff team. And I think everybody would agree that they looked like a playoff team because the defense was cranking on all cylinders last night. There's going to be some favorable things like Stafford. You know, he made some throws. You're like, okay, like that's Stafford arm talent right there. That's like That's the things that he'll do. And, the first one he throws it downfield to OBJ, stupid throw, trying to force it, trying to get the superstar receiver that showed up 4 days ago or 3 days ago the ball. And then the other one was tipped for the touchdown. That's just crappy luck, obviously, as far as it going into the DB's hands. But overall, like the Niners D showed up yesterday. That vibe was different. Everything was just completely different than what it was 8 days ago. Like it looked completely opposite. And that's the problem. That's the thing that makes you nervous as far as we talk about playoff team or wild card team, whatever it may be. It's like what Niners defense is going to show up this week or what Niners offense is going to show up. But it seems like since that Bears game, the offense has been a lot more consistent from looking how it used to look and looking how it should look or what we would expect out of Kyle Shanahan with Jimmy Garoppolo playing quarterback. Like last night, seeing Debo in the backfield with Wilson in front of him. Like that, like doing those split inside zones and those different reads that they've done. Like I like the fact that he mixed it up because when he did that a few years ago with Breida and Mostert and Wilson was obviously there too. Like, plus you got Juszczyk in there. The things that they did with the run game were so different than everybody else, and that's why they had success. And last night, he went back to that, giving those different looks with the run game, different blocks. It's fun to watch. Like you watch him do that stuff, and it's not your typical run game type of looks that you get out of everybody else. Outside zone, inside zone. He was doing it with different dudes, and it's fun to watch.
Also, how do you prepare for that from a personnel standpoint? You know how this goes, right? When the defense sees the personnel that you put on the field, they react accordingly to make sure that they have the personnel to match that, right? So the 49ers, they come out with one running back with Wilson out there. So we're talking about probably 11 personnel, right? You got one tight end, one back, and maybe 3 receivers out there. But you're going to come out in more of your base defense, typically, right? So if you come out in your base defense, but then the 49ers going to put Deebo Samuel in the backfield and use him as a running back, that throws off everything defensively. That's how you play that, because now you have an extra defensive back on the field instead of an extra linebacker, and you're more vulnerable in the run game. And it can mess up, just like, you're blocking the angles and things like that. I think being able to utilize Deebo Samuel in that way is a huge advantage for the 49ers. Because what do? Do you say, well, every time we see Deebo out there, we're going to go 11 personnel, or, we're going to put our nickel defense in there. Well, then they put him in the backfield, they can run it with him, and now you're outnumbered in the box. Or you say, all right, well, okay, they go 11 personnel, we're going to keep a linebacker in there. But then, okay, well, now Deebo's out there at receiver, and now you have an extra linebacker out there in coverage. That's a disadvantage to you defensively. So I think, we see the creativity with using Deebo Samuel that way as a running back, but it really throws off a lot of the numbers for the defense.
No, I agree. And that's the thing with you watch the Niners pass game, and I'd have to break it down. I don't know if it's on Game Pass or not. I doubt it is. I'd have to break it down by where as far as passes inside the hashes and completions inside the hashes, yards inside the hashes compared to outside. It's got to be 3 times the amount inside the hashes than it is outside, because
I'll tell you right now, as far as what it is right now. Keep talking, and then I'll bring that up for you.
So, and you're right. The reason why I think you watch Jimmy across the middle. Like a lot of times he's throwing slants, he's throwing dig routes, throwing basic routes. And by basic route, I mean like a 10-yard, 15-yard, 12-yard in, whatever it may be from a tight end slot. And then you got the double slants that he was doing last night. Like those were all working, but those work off the run game. Not just because, and not even talking about play action, but it works off the run game because you can't just go into dime package. You can't go into nickel package when you got 11 personnel, or you got Juszczyk in there. Well, they'll put in their base defense with Juszczyk, who played tight end in college, can catch the ball in the backfield. So you got to stay in a base defense, but that staying in a base defense creates tons of mismatches. As you watched last night, how many times did you see a linebacker trying to play with George Kittle? How many times did you see a linebacker playing across the middle when you got Ayuk or Kittle running right behind him, or Juszczyk running with him? So when the Niners are able to run the ball, teams have to leave their base defense, and you can't put a nickel in there. They get killed with a nickel coming off the edge or trying to hold it down, playing the run game. So that is a huge advantage when everything else is working, not just from a route running perspective, but when you got a good run game and you make a team stay in their base defense with guys like Kittle, guys like Debo, guys like Ayuk that like to work the middle, guys like Juszczyk that can catch the ball in the backfield, you're creating those mismatches with linebackers.
So I'm looking at Jimmy Garoppolo's passing chart. And as a matter of fact, I can actually bring it up. Hold on, I can share the screen. And you kind of see what he does well. And I think ideally that's how you want to use him. Are you able to see that pretty good?
Yep.
So here we go. Try to zoom in on it right there. All right, so that's
So
his.
how many you see outside the numbers? Not one.
Not one outside the numbers.
Nope.
And there's about two, which both resulted in touchdowns, past the sticks. Maybe you can count. There's one other one that you can maybe say is right, 10 yards downfield, but not a whole lot of air yardage going on here, but definitely a high level of efficiency. I think where I worry a little bit is what about if a team takes this away from them?
That's what I was going to say. So this chart right here, most people will look at this chart and say, it looks good, but there's no downfield threats. Okay. Now, my defense of this or Jimmy Garoppolo would be, why would you need to throw the ball downfield like yesterday? Why do you need to do it when you're killing the team in the box? You're owning the time of possession. You can move the ball at will for the most part. There's no reason necessarily to push the ball down the field. Now, when it is stopped, right, that's when you got to be able to push the ball past the sticks and extend the ball down the field. And that's where, you get to the plus 20s, plus 30 throws. There's not a ton of them, right? But last week, he did a great job from a standpoint of getting the ball down the field more to, I would say, plus 10 routes where it was Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, obviously, so he was pushing the ball down the field a little bit more, but we dealt with those fumbles. And I think just overall, it wasn't a great game from a defensive standpoint, but he did enough. I think he did plenty on offense to be able to win that game, obviously.
Right.
Can you hear the music in the background? I'm at the gym right now. If you can, I'm going to go turn it down. No,
you're good.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't hear anything. Maybe if I do, it's very faint.
If you do, because I'm going to go turn it down.
I think with Jimmy Garoppolo, right? And this is not a knock on him per se. When you look at your quarterback and you're looking for that, like, okay, what's that next step, right? So we see this, and I think everybody would say 49ers. I was listening to the Mannings talk last night, and they're like this is where Jimmy feels comfortable. This is where he wants. My big question is when teams start taking that away, what does it start to look like? And I think that's when it starts to get a little weird, right? Mm-hmm. I think as long as he's able to play this game, I think we will see the high level of efficiency like we saw last night. Like if he only has to take a couple shots, between 15 to 20 yards, if he can throw one or two passes in that range, he's fine. And the 49ers can definitely win with that. But I feel like if he has to start to do a little bit more and somebody is like, hey, you know what? We're not letting you beat us right here. We're going to make you throw to these other areas. That's where I think people would be like, okay, we need a quarterback that could do a little bit more.
Right.
Is that offer?
That's the hard thing about it is, 2019 season, Jimmy threw for 4,000 plus, doing exactly what you just showed on the screen.
Right.
Goes to the Super Bowl. Should have won the Super Bowl. Wasn't his fault we lost the Super Bowl, right? So it's like at some point or another, like into the third quarter yesterday, Jimmy was 11 for 11. Like, what more could you ask of a quarterback? People are going to say, I know there's going to be, if I go to Twitter right now, I know there's going to be people still saying Trey Lance should play. Trey Lance is like, you're delusional. Like, you're denying the fact. I get it. There is a sense of urgency for Trey Lance to get in because you want to see what he can bring to the game. But it's tough because it's like all of a sudden you watch the team last night where the offense is moving, and the last 3 games Jimmy's done pretty well. You're at this crossroad of like, do we just put the rookie in just because and then risk the season, or do we continue playing on the path that we're playing, or going on the same path and with how we're playing and try and get to the playoffs? And I would say yes, that would be the answer, because there's no reason to even tank. We don't have a first-round draft pick this year, so there's this crossroad. It's like, okay, well, everybody's going to want to see the rookie, and that's that conversation. But I think there's a lot of people that are in denial of the fact that Jimmy G's operated the offense pretty damn well the last couple of weeks. But it still won't be good enough because he doesn't stretch the ball down the field. But when you don't have to stretch the ball down the field, why would you even risk doing it? Or why even try it when you got somebody that can literally work inside? Like last night, he threw a dig route to Debo. I think it was in the third quarter. I think it was Debo. Yeah, they go like for you. I almost sent it to you, but they went like 11 thief, right? So for those who don't know, we would call it 11 thief on offense, or like 11 robber. Basically, it's like matched up one. So it's 3-by-1. It looks like a cover 3 look to one side. To the trip side, it looks like cover 3. On the back side, it's man coverage. Now it was still man on the front side. They were just passing dudes out wide. So he gets a mismatch out of 3-by-1. He's got a linebacker on him. Safety rolls deep. The other safety rolls down to try and rob the middle of the field, right? So he's got a linebacker on him that's looking outside and reading and backpedaling, and the safety's trying to come down. Well, Jimmy sees the mismatch with the linebacker. Debo gets past him, hits him on the dig in the first window right before the safety gets down. If it's 1 second later, the safety's going to crack him. Instead, it's a completion. Those are those things, the experience-wise, that you're not getting yet from Trey Lance. Like, he sees that mismatch, sees the coverage. He's looking wide. Debo gets behind the backer. Boom, first window dig before the safety rolls down and cracks him. Most times as a rookie, guys like Trey Lance, guys with big arms, not even necessarily just Trey Lance, guys with big arms, will wait maybe a second longer and end up trying to force that ball to a spot that it shouldn't have been thrown. When you got Jimmy G, he's got good anticipation. He gets the ball out quickly. It wasn't the best looking pass in the world, but he saved his receiver from getting cracked. And now the chains are moving.
I see right now somebody said Kyle lost us the Super Bowl.
I would agree. Like, I truly agree. Didn't Tyrann Mathieu say if the Niners kept running the ball, the Chiefs would have lost?
Yeah. Now, one part about that is, and not to, again, like I'm happy with what Jimmy Garoppolo has done over the last few weeks. We talked about shrinking the field, how he kind of condenses the field with where he excels at. And I did notice in the Super Bowl, and this is something I'm worried with down the line, the Kansas City Chiefs said, first of all, we're going to make you throw, and we're going to make you throw where you're not comfortable throwing. We're going to make you throw outside the numbers. So if you guys go back and look to the third, fourth quarter, because Jimmy was efficient up into the fourth quarter, they started playing their safeties really tight. They played press on the outside with really no help and said, you're going to have to make a throw somewhere you're not comfortable doing. Can you do that? And the timing of that was off. I do want to ask
you. And Shanahan, I think, saw that. And up 21-10, sees that and says, okay, let's start throwing the ball. He's like, whoa. Like, well, we've been running the ball the whole game at will pretty much. And all of a sudden he wants to start throwing the ball with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. It's like, dude, we were 3 downs away from pretty much locking it up. So I think he put Jimmy in a crappy spot because it didn't even need to go there. If you can run the ball, I don't care if it's cover 0, and you know this from playing at JC when we were there. If it was cover 0, cover 1, 7 in the box, doesn't matter. If you can run the ball against people with 6, 7 in the box, then do the damn thing until they show that they can truly stop it. for a
And
drive
like last night,
like
right?
just
There were plenty of people in the box last night, and
Right.
Kyle said, "I don't care how many people in the box. We're just going to keep running
That's
Mitchell
what
into there."
would have done that. That's what would have won the Niners Super Bowl. Jimmy would have a Super Bowl ring. Trey Lance probably wouldn't even have gotten picked realistically, right? And I'm not a Trey Lance hater. I like Trey Lance. It's not even that. It's who is the best fit for right now. And I've said this all along: is Jimmy G is the best fit for right now. Does Trey Lance bring a different element to the game? Absolutely. Are we going to see the different element to the game? Absolutely. If the Niners make the playoffs, let's just say this. Let me ask you this. This is going to be, and I'm going to leave you with this question. If the Niners make the playoffs somehow and win the Super Bowl and Jimmy G goes off, what are you going to do? Let's just say they win out from here and they win the Super Bowl. You just tell them, get packing, see ya, because we gave up all that equity for Trey Lance. What are you going to do?
Well, this is the predicament that they put themselves in by keeping him, right? This is what Steve Young was talking about right after the draft. You keep him, you open up the door for something like this, to where what if he does? And then you go to what Jay York said before the season, which was, oh yeah, if Jimmy wins MVP and wins the Super Bowl, Trey Lance can sit 2 years. Like, okay.
And that's the thing. It's like realistically, I think that you would be an idiot of a Niner fan to say if Jimmy wins the Super Bowl and we keep him around, like, screw that. Like, I don't even want to see him around anymore. Trey Lance needs to be the guy. It's like the guy might have, and this is speaking way far right out of the realm of what things look like right now. Like, this is one game overexcited, one game overreaction. But they're starting to click, right? And then I think we have too many injuries to make it that far anyways. And I'm sure, I don't even want to say it, but it's just more probably to come, unfortunately, just because the way that it's been for the Niners the last couple of years. But if the defense plays like that and the offense is clicking on cylinders, I think they could make a run. I really do. I think that they know how to look at the teams in the West that are projected to win the Super Bowl. The Rams, right, after they got OBJ, cooked their ass last night. They play the Cardinals in Arizona with Trey Lance playing, so the backup's in, and they lose by a touchdown, okay, with Kyler Murray, and they're running. They have all their dudes. That second game against the Cardinals, that one last week, you could toss that one out.
Packers.
Terrible. The Packers, with the exception of the first quarter, the Niners were in the damn game the whole time and probably should have won the damn game against the Packers, right? So you're talking about the teams that we had to get through to get to the Super Bowl. The Niners have proven, one, that they could beat them, and two, play with them every single week. And like you said, the schedule is favorable moving through the rest of the year for the Niners. So it's going to be a predicament if Jimmy continues on the path that he's on right now, and the Niners are doing well on offense. Yeah, who knows? Maybe he goes crazy the next 5-6 weeks, and now we're sitting here at the end of the season saying, well shit, I guess maybe Trey is going to do his package thing next year, and he's going to have to sit a little bit more. And I'm not saying that would be bad. I'm really not, because look at, again, how many years did Aaron Rodgers sit? He had a guy named Brett Favre in front of him. How many years did Brady sit? How many years did Steve Young sit? Trey Lance is still young. He played 17 games in college, right? So I think you can build him into those package things still. And I'm surprised that we didn't see him at some point last night. But again, you didn't need him because we got up on him. So I would expect to see some of the package stuff still. I would expect to see him at some point probably come in if Jimmy's not consistent. But if Jimmy stays on the path he's on, you're not going to see a ton of Trey Lance the rest of the year.
Right. All right. Well, I know you got to get out of here, Greg. I wanted to ask you more about what it meant for Trey Lance, but we kind of touched on that, just the trajectory of where Jimmy Garoppolo is getting in, and not looking at it just a one-game thing. Like you said, we're going back 3 games now where Jimmy Garoppolo has played well. And even against the Cardinals, I think most people that are thinking logically would tell you that Jimmy Garoppolo is not the reason the 49ers, lost that game. You had a couple fumbles. The defense didn't show up. They weren't tackling. A lot of that fixed last night. We'll see if the 49ers can kind of continue this moving forward. But
it'll be a good conversation next week, I think, after we play the Jags and everything else, the Jaguars. Well, the Jags got a pretty good defense. So we'll see what happens with the Jags on on defense next week and how they're going to play the Niners. But I'm excited. I think it was a good win last night. It's always a good win against the Rams. Jimmy G, knock on wood, is what 5-0 or 6-0 or something like that against the Rams.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been good to see.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna let you get to the kids, and we're gonna go on break. But when we come back, we're gonna get a little bit more into this quarterback conversation, and I'll bring you guys, the fans, the listeners, on live. Greg, thank you, man.
Appreciate it, Croc. We'll see you guys.
Peace.